Hi, everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the part of my YouTube channel that I don't do very often, but occasionally I choose to have a conversation with someone who I feel will really make a difference to people's lives. And this lady that I'm talking to today is actually someone that has made an incredible difference in my life. And we're going to be talking about how that has happened. But I really want you to understand that the title of this is there a quick fix in the health and wellness industry? Well, this is a big question because we know, don't we, that there's a huge amount of emphasis on people losing weight at the moment. And of course, we're in January when we record this, and everyone has their New Year's resolution that they're going to go to the gym, they're going to walk 25 miles a day, they're going to only eat green leaves, that kind of thing. But actually, is that sustainable? And is that how you can actually have a healthy mind, but also a body and soul integrated together? So my conversation today is with Philippa Wilkie, who has been my personal trainer for coming up, I think, Philippa, nearly 3 years. We're looking at, aren't we? Yeah, we're looking at 3 years. And it definitely was not a quick fix, but I just want to introduce you. So, Philippa, can you tell everybody a little bit about your background and where you're from? Because I can tell from your accent you're not English, right?
Well, I actually had a dance background, ballet, and I danced as a professional ballet dancer when I left school. And then I moved into the whole fitness industry. So started competing um, way back in the day, doing aerobic sports, moved over to doing fitness competitions and figure competitions. So I helped people with all of those sort of competitions and then moved into the whole personal training
Yeah,
arena.
yeah.
And yes, it's just been my lifestyle. My way of life has always been fitness focused,
Mm.
um, living a lifestyle. And that's
Yeah.
basically been my background.
Yeah. And we meet 3 times a week. And actually, Philippa works with me online. I live on the south coast of the UK, as many of you know, and Philippa lives in a completely different part of England. And so when she moved over from South Africa, she set up her online business here, which I was so excited about because for me, I'm busy, and to get out to go to a gym 3 times a week, it doesn't sound much, but actually factoring that into your life is quite a big thing. But actually having it set every week, the times that are set for you, you just show up. And most of you know that I work online predominantly, so it works really well for me. And in fact, just before recording this live on the YouTube channel, we actually just did a personal training session together. So you can see how easy it is to fit this kind of world into your life. And it isn't something that you can just dip in and out of. I feel like this is, and we were talking before we went live, it's something that has to be part of your whole life, doesn't it? As many things have to be part of your life. So if you're watching this live, I have you have the ability, rather, that if you want to ask a question to Philippa or myself, then feel free to do that and we'll try to get to your questions. And if you're watching this afterwards, then still leave the questions because I can always bring them over to Philippa and she can answer them for you. And you can get your answer. So don't worry if you're watching this later and you've missed the live. It's definitely going to be there evergreen on my YouTube channel, and we will answer every single question, won't we, Philippa? Whatever
Yeah.
somebody needs. So obviously I'm coming from the point of view of the mind and the soul and so on, and how the mind, body and soul are all integrated. And so if we were to start thinking about that with everybody, it's really important, isn't it, to say that mind is not separate from body and body is not separate from mind. Whether we believe in the soul or not, that we have a spirit, we know that the mind and body are not separate. And yet, perhaps what we're told in the medical profession is that we have to treat something which is a symptom, we have to treat it without looking at a mindset or an emotional aspect of it. And I think that's what's happening in the world right now. Definitely. People are looking at something that's a symptom and they're doing something that they think is going to fix that symptom, right? So, a disclaimer for Philippa and I is that neither of us are doctors and we don't claim to heal or cure. But what we have got in our backgrounds, and Philippa, told us her extensive experience and background. And she also didn't say, but she actually is qualified to work with pregnant ladies. She's also qualified to work with menopause, so women that are going through the menopause. I don't think you said that, Philippa, did you?
Oh, no,
In
I
your
didn't.
intro, yeah. So that's really important to say. So she is very well qualified, and I am very well qualified as well in metaphysics, in psychology, in psychotherapy. So we're not doctors, but we have got extensive experience in nutrition, naturopathy, and so on. So we can help you with that. So yeah, if you're coming on live and you have a question, then please fire it and we will try and get to it. So Philippa, when you start to work with somebody and they've got their, like I had with you, I was like, I want to have a strong body. I want to lose weight. I want to feel that I always had loads of energy, so that wasn't a problem for me. But I just felt like the shape of my body, that was it, wasn't it? The shape of my body and the tone and so on. Um, when I first started working with you, it it takes a bit of time, doesn't it, before we start to see a change. And I remember with you, you always encouraged me and said, look, these bits are changing and they're changing within first. So the core of our body changes within first, and building muscle was really important. Can you talk to building muscle? Because I think this is one of the key things that people forget. They think they want to lose weight or they want to do something with their body, but they forget how important muscle is to that.
Muscle is extremely important. Just by gaining a little bit of muscle, you're going to up your metabolism.
Mm,
So, for instance, to maintain muscle, you need 4 times more calories than you do to maintain fat. So, a lot of people think, oh, there's a quick fix. It takes
mm,
time to build muscle. Also, you have to eat correctly. If you're going to eat potatoes and chips and pasta, etc., it's not going to build any muscle. So, you've got to get that nutrition into your body. Um, and as I said, it does take time. So, but building up that muscle, you are going to have a stronger body. You're going to
mm.
have your metabolism is going to be naturally higher.
Yeah,
And even if you take a little bit of a break, you go on a holiday, come back, your muscle memory is now built up. So your
yeah,
body's just naturally stronger and you get back into it that much quicker. Um, it's it is a slow process. There's no quick fix. Um, you're not going to pop a pill and well, you can pop pills, but you're going to
mm,
gain some muscle, but you're going to lose it as soon as you stop popping those pills.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah.
it is a journey, and it's a maintenance thing, and it's consistency.
I think that's really important to say as well, because, I'm sure many people have tried all different ways. There are many sorts of diets, aren't there? There's, the Atkins diet, Robert Atkins. It was to do with it was no carbs at all, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Was it just
that was
fats
for
and,
carbs. The problem
mm,
is, I don't know if you've ever come into contact with somebody who eliminates all carbs and fibrous carbs as well as your
mm,
stodgy carbs.
mm.
And if you've ever smelt their breath doesn't smell good. And that should immediately say to you, something's wrong. This is not
Yeah,
right.
if your body smells, yeah, absolutely. It's giving something off, isn't it, that isn't healthy and natural. Yeah. So what is it about? I mean, I know quite a lot about this, but from your perspective, because you're the professional in this sense. So what would you say? why is it that people choose to not have carbohydrate in their diet? What's the reason?
They've been told that this is going to make them lose weight. And yes, they do lose weight, but the reason they're actually losing weight is because they're cutting their calories. So
Yeah,
whether you follow a carb only or an oil only or a protein only,
yeah,
you are automatically cutting your calories. So you are going to lose weight.
yeah,
But that's not sustainable long term. So at
yeah.
the end of the day, when you start eating normally or properly,
Mm.
you're going to pile those kilograms on again. It's a quick fix, but it's not long term and it's not
Yeah,
sustainable.
yeah. And there's, obviously I know this, that the if you eat more protein and fat, your body holds on to that as energy longer. So the carbohydrates is sort of like a fast energy, isn't it? And it
Yes.
converts to sugar, complex carbs, obviously sugar. And so with that, it activates the pancreas, doesn't it? And insulin. So the
Yes.
more you eat, little and often, or things like that, actually creates the insulin, doesn't it, in the body, which then you get insulin resistance, which then you get that bit around the body, around the middle, which I used to have, where I just looked like I didn't have a waist. You remember, right? I never used to have a waist.
And the thing is that a lot of people also avoid carbs, but they are good carbs and bad carbs.
Yeah.
So the good carbs, you need those carbs for your gut health.
Yes.
Otherwise, nothing's going to move through your body. I mean,
Mm.
if you just think of it logically, you need to constantly be cleansing your body. So you
Yeah.
need to take in those carbs to give yourself the maximum absorption from the gut.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, what do you think is happening with people at the moment, in this sense of we have a quick fix society? We have Amazon and other things that we can get instantly the next day. We have quick fix foods, which, things like pot noodles and stuff like that. People do 5 minutes in the oven, pizzas, things like that. But we've also got this massive craze that is happening right now, which is the the injections that people are taking, and putting into their body to lose the weight very, very quickly. Should we have a bit of a conversation about that? Because I think that
Definitely.
something
The thing is
that,
that once you start with those, well, let's talk about the injections. The thing is that it's actually quite worrying because people lose an exorbitant amount of weight very,
mm,
very quickly. Um, if you just look at them on the exterior, their skin starts to sag
mm,
because the skin can't contract quickly enough to keep up
right,
with this
yeah,
fat loss. But the thing is, it's not only fat loss, you're losing muscle, you're losing water, all of that. It cannot be good at the end of the day. And then they lose all this weight. And they're losing weight because it's an appetite suppressant.
mm,
So once they start eating or stop the injections and start eating more, they're taking those calories again and then they're going to pile on the kilograms again.
yeah,
So you're creating a dependence on the substance. How
mm,
long are you going to keep jabbing yourself
mm,
to keep your weight down? You shouldn't be. It should be a lifestyle that you have
mm,
naturally come to follow, and
yeah,
not relying on. And uh, another problem is that this is a new thing. It hasn't really been examined properly. And we don't know what are the long term effects of this.
yeah,
Is it going to lead to a diabetes? Is it going to lead to
mm.
blind eyesight problems? All that sort of thing.
Why would it lead to eyesight problems? What would be the reason for that?
Apparently, because it leads to
Mm,
insulin
right,
problems, diabetes. So
mm,
circulation, eyesight problem. That's your
yeah,
usual diabetes problems
mm,
start to
mm,
occur. As I said, I mean, as you said, I'm not a doctor,
mm,
but it's worrying that these studies are now starting to come through that
yeah,
sort of thing go. So,
yeah,
what are you giving up something like your eyesight to look good for only a
mm,
short period of time? What's going to happen long term?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that's important. I mean, I think they were originally meant for people that were really seriously, seriously overweight and in danger of not being here anymore. I think are they called GI1 receptors or something? Is it the GI1? I can't remember anyway, but it's something like that, something that is found in the brain. And if it isn't there naturally through foods, which is like avocados and things like that, if they're not eating it through that, then it kind of, you can get it artificially through these injections. And so it naturally stops you from thinking about eating. But I've met people that actually just don't eat anything on it. They literally don't eat anything, or they'll eat one chip, or they literally eat nothing and they have no appetite whatsoever. And going back to the muscle, what people have said to me is that they don't have the strength anymore. They don't
Must
have the
be.
strength to
Yeah.
carry shopping bags and so on. And, that the muscle tone is just
So
gone.
concerning, and I read an article recently where 1 in 6 people living in
Mm,
the UK are on these jabs of some sort.
okay.
That's not a healthy society. We cannot all be
Mm,
relying on artificial things that we're putting into our bodies.
yeah.
And it's not only that supplement industry as well, it's unregulated.
Yeah.
So you've got initially, for instance, your jabs were given by doctors, but now you've got beauticians administering jabs and people who are not actually
Mm.
qualified and don't know what they're doing.
And supermarkets.
That is really worrying. And
Mm,
then your supplements that you can buy online or in supermarkets or
mm,
wherever,
mm,
it's unregulated. So you don't actually know what am I putting into my body. Whereas if you're
yeah.
eating the correct food, okay,
Mm,
I'm getting in the
mm,
chicken breast or I'm getting in the beans or whatever your dietary preference is.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
exactly what you're putting into your body.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if there's a couple of questions here actually, which I will bring, bring forward in a moment. Hi, Shona and Michelle. Lovely to see you, and thank you for coming on live. I'll answer your questions in a moment. But one of the things I was thinking about was, the work that I've done over the years, 20 odd years of work, I've noticed that when people put on weight, quite a lot of the time they are also emotionally protecting.
Yes.
And when we come to menopause, I just want, Shauna's put a message here. She said, what percentage of macros should we aim for in menopause for weight loss and maintenance? And menopause is something that's a big thing, and you're qualified in this, which is great. What what happens in menopause? Why is it that women put on weight? And is it partly emotional? Because as you lose that ability to be a mother, let's say, and if you haven't been a mother, or even if you have been a mother, there an emotion? Would you say that there's also an emotional component to it, that there might be a protection? Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I think as a sexual being, you now becoming
Oh,
defunct. And you start to
yeah.
feel
Say that again, Philippa, because I think the internet went. Just say that again, because I think the internet went a bit weird.
okay. So and as a sexual being, you're now almost becoming defunct, and you start to think, well,
Mm,
what is my purpose?
yeah,
You still have a purpose. There are so many women
yeah.
living over the age of 80. Just because you've gone into menopause in your 40s
Mm,
or your
mm,
50s doesn't say that that's it, time over for you. And I think a lot of
yeah,
women are not supported by men. Um, Men don't understand what they're going through. They
right.
don't understand all the hot flashes or
Yeah.
the various symptoms of menopause,
Hmm.
and to pass it off as, oh, it's just a female thing. It's not just a female thing.
Yeah.
We're going quite a change in our bodies. As teenagers, we all,
Mm,
you go through that as well. And we acknowledge that much more than women
mm,
going through menopause. Menopause is almost, it's coming to the fore much more now. And it's spoken
yeah.
about, having that conversation. But previously, it was almost a taboo topic. And I
Yeah.
don't actually know
Yeah.
why. We're just as important now as we were in our teens.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, isn't it? How it was always like, oh, going through the change and you didn't talk about it, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, I was one of the fortunate ones. We'll get to that question, but I was one of the fortunate ones. I didn't really have any symptoms, but my
yeah,
mum didn't either. So I didn't
yeah.
I didn't really have any symptoms. But I know a lot of people do have
Some
symptoms.
women go through terrible time, and
Right.
and trying to explain, you having a conversation with somebody, and you get a hot flush, and you're all red in your
Right.
face and sweating, and
Mm.
you're feeling terrible,
Yeah.
and you can't
Yeah.
really turn around to someone in their 20s and say, "Oh, I'm having a hot flush." They don't understand what you're going through.
So why is it that the body does that? What is going on when we go through menopause? Is it hormonal
It is
just?
hormonal. Your estrogen levels are now dropping,
Mm. Mm.
and that so leads to things like brittle bones, and that's
Ah.
so because of it. Your bone mass starts to decline, your muscle
Mm.
mass starts to decline, and that's why it's so important as you get older to do weight training or
That's why I was going to say about
body
that. Yeah.
body weight
Yeah.
exercises. It's
Weight bearing
weight bearing
exercise.
exercise is
Yeah.
really, really important,
Yeah.
and it empowers you
Mm.
because you see so many women walking around, even in their 50s,
Mm.
stooped over, and it's because their
Mm.
bones are starting to disintegrate.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're doing weight bearing exercises, what actually happens is that your osteo, your receptors in the bones realize, okay, now I need to produce more bone. So
Yeah.
your body actually starts to lay down more osteoblasts. So it strengthens the
Oh,
bone.
so
And your
interesting. Yeah.
bone density then goes up. And that's
Mm.
because, and then with that also becomes the muscle gain. It kind of
Yes.
goes hand in hand. And it's amazing
Mm.
how I've actually seen this because I've had women who've checked their bone density, started doing weight bearing exercises, checked their bone density afterwards, and their bone density has improved.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what better gift can you give to yourself?
And I
We
think
teach.
I think strength, for me, one of the major things, obviously working with you, was I think I remember saying to you, right, almost very much at the start, oh, when I lift up the shopping now, when you've gone to the shop and you've got, your food shop, when I lift up the shopping now and I put it in the back of the car, I do it with ease. Whereas
Yes.
before, it would have been, nearly 3 years ago, it would have been a struggle, but that happened very, very quickly. Big
Yeah, it
change
does.
very quickly.
That does.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think with a lot of people is that we're so focused on the external,
Yeah.
we don't actually realize what's going on inside our bodies.
Yeah.
And like you said, the change actually happens pretty quickly. You notice a change within yourself
Hmm.
pretty quickly,
Yeah.
and then other people start to notice it,
Well, they definitely
and
did.
then
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah.
and then it's just sort of snowballs, and before
Yeah.
you know it, you're living a healthier, happier life. Because
Yeah.
as I mean, this is your domain. It's all in mind body connection, your
Mm.
soul. It's all
Mm.
connected, and that just leads to a happier existence.
Yeah, because I feel, that this is our vehicle for our soul, right? So I feel like if we can feel good when we get up in the morning, we're not aching, we haven't got aches and pains, we don't feel old in the sense of, oh, I couldn't possibly have the energy to do that, then we're carrying our soul on the mission that we chose. So our vehicle has got to be looked after. And I just think that the more that we can listen to what our body needs via the messages of our soul, the better it is for us. And I'm always listening. It was a couple of years ago, or probably nearly 3 years ago, I became vegetarian, and I'm not vegan like you. And that doesn't interest me right now to be vegan. And we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's
feel
a
like
personal choice. Yeah.
it's a personal choice. And it just doesn't feel right for me. But vegetarian definitely feels right for me because that's obviously what I was guided to do. And that
Yes.
happens when you start to really, I suppose, love yourself and start to realize that nothing is a quick fix. And the more that you can see change happening in your world, in your physical body, in your outside world, the more you start to realize that you're actually creating that
Yes.
yourself. It's
You're in
not something you're
control.
stabbing in your body to say, right, okay, this is my answer. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
just one thing that's going on at the moment. So Shauna, her question is, what percentage of macros should we aim for while we're going through menopause for weight loss and maintenance? That's her question.
If you thought of a plate or a pie diagram, you'd roughly be going for 30% protein, 60% carbohydrates. And I'm saying carbohydrates, that's your vegetables, your fruit, um, your good carbs,
Mm.
such as brown rice and your
Quinoa, things like that.
grains, yeah. And then a 10% for your fats. So
Yeah.
that's roughly the breakdown that one would look at.
Yeah. I hope that helps you, Shauna, and I hope it
Yeah.
helps you
Um, I'm,
realize.
I'm not a I'm not a real calorie counter, as some people
Yeah.
do calorie count. I don't know. I'm just preempting questions on this. A lot of people ask, how many calories should I be
Yeah.
consuming a day?
Mm.
The average woman, to maintain her weight, between 1,500 and 1,800 calories a day. If they're wanting to lose weight, between 1,200 and 1,500 calories a day.
Mm.
And it sounds very little, but if you think about it, fill yourself up on things like vegetables and that sort of thing, and
Mm.
you wind up actually being able to eat a lot of food.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah, you shouldn't
it's the
starve
food you
yourself,
need. Yeah.
deprive yourself, and feel hungry all
Mm.
the time. That's not the aim at all.
Mm. What do you think about intermittent fasting? Because I do that, but I do it naturally. Like if in the morning I'm hungry, I'll eat. But if I'm not hungry in the morning, I won't. So I just that's how I do intermittent fasting. So I listen to my body. But what do you think about it? How does it help people?
Actually, I follow intermittent fasting, and it just suits my lifestyle because
Mm.
I'm always busy with clients in the morning. So I basically start eating from roughly 1 o'clock on.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say to me, "Oh, but how do you have energy?" I've got loads of energy. I'm still able to
Same.
train my clients. I'm still able to train myself. Uh, you know, I
Yeah.
can do everything, renovation, you name it. Um, so,
And she does renovate a lot, let me tell you.
but it doesn't affect how I,
Mm.
my day-to-day operations. And what is beneficial about the intermittent fasting is that you're giving your body enough time to recover basically from eating, because you've got a 12-hour period after your last meal before your body actually starts to break down fat. So if you've given yourself 12 hours and then you start eating again, you're not really going into breaking down fat. So the longer you can push it out, the more your body's going to basically be breaking down the fat. And I found it hasn't done any breakdown of muscle. As I say, energy is fine. And because of the intermittent fasting, you're eating for a short period of time, and as a result, you're taking in less calories. And I also find that you don't feel so hungry, because initially maybe I found, oh, I'm feeling hungry, but after a while, you just think,
Yeah.
you stop thinking about food, and it stops becoming this main focus and
And
concern.
this is a good segue. Oh, Shauna's here. She's live. That's great. She said, I love intermittent fasting. I have more energy while I'm fasting. Yeah, that's a really good point, Shauna. And did it make sense to you as well? Just answer if it made sense to you about what Philippa was saying about the portions. But this is a really good segue, because actually, I do speak to a lot of people that they have food on their mind the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's because it's like, well, I shouldn't eat that, or I should eat that, or I couldn't eat, this whole kind of, my guides are kicking in here and they're talking about the guilt side of things,
Yeah.
how we feel, sometimes we can feel guilty, or people feel guilty if they eat something. I have to say, I literally do not feel guilty about anything I eat or drink. If I want to go out and have a gin and tonic, I'll have one. If I want some chocolate, I'll have one. I'll have some chocolate. I don't go mad. Like, I don't need to. But if I want it, I have it. And I don't think anything of it. But I think that's because I've got to the point now where my body is constantly in its cleansing mode, but also, as you said right at the top of this conversation, you can have Christmas, you can do this, you can go on holiday, but it's your muscle has already been built.
Yes.
So it's burning off everything anyway, you
Much
know?
more quickly than it would
Yeah.
be if you had excess fat.
Yeah. So I don't feel I mean, I don't feel guilty about anything, to be honest, but I don't feel guilty about food. Because I
Mm.
think what goes with that, I'm getting a nudge here, is about deprivation. And then of course, when you feel deprived, I can't have that, I can't have that. What I found is that brings up childhood parts of us traumatically, that, oh, I feel deprived, I'm deprived from love, I'm deprived from, maybe what I need or what I needed when I was a child. So that brings up deprivation in people, which then creates a barrier, which is that protection. And I have noticed that with people. And the other thing I've noticed as well is when people have had abuse in their early years, when they've been abused, or something's happened in their life as a child that has been really, really traumatic for them, they then cover to protect. And it's really interesting that when we
Yeah,
start working with healing trauma, the body starts to change, right?
totally,
So
totally.
that's something for people to think about. Like we're looking, we're
Connects
talking,
together.
it connects together. And we are talking about the soul, of course, our mission, that's my thing, but
Mm.
we're also talking about what has led us to this point. Why are we feeling that we can't lose weight now, or we feel that our body is weak, or we haven't got the energy, or, we've got to look at that, haven't we? Because if we're not living our life, we're not living our mission, we're not living our light, I call it, and our heart, then our physical body is going to tell us.
Yes.
And
I
that
think a lot of
comes,
people feel that they almost don't deserve to have a good body.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
sabotage and
and
stuff.
yes, and once you start to see the benefits of living healthily,
Mm,
you think to yourself, no, I actually do deserve this. I'm not
mm.
some, you know, not only the
Unimportant
film stars,
person.
yeah, it's not only
Mm,
film stars who need to look good or can look good.
yeah.
Everybody can. It's a gift that you actually can give to yourself very
Mm,
easily.
yeah. It doesn't actually take that long, but I do think that it does actually take consistency. And one of the things I remember you used to say to me was, I have holidays, I have loads of trips and stuff, but we always pick up where we leave off, and the
Yes.
consistency is always there. I think in the 3 years that you and I have been together nearly, I mean, I've had like a couple of times where I've been sick and that's it. And I couldn't do a PT session. Was it, like never really, I can't do it.
I
And
remember once or twice with you.
yeah, once or twice. Yeah. I
Yeah, yeah.
never don't show up.
No,
And that's what's really important, I think, is having that mindset. It's not about going to say, I'm going to do juicing for, I'm going to just do green juice, let's say. Nothing wrong with green juice. I love it. But we're not going to do it for, breakfast, dinner, a breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 months and eat nothing else, right? That's the quick fix mentality. And I'm not going to go into, um, just eating. There was a grape diet at one point, I think in,
oh,
I
yes,
don't
that
know,
was
the
very popular.
90s. Yeah,
Diet.
yeah. And or there's a just a fruit diet, which might be quite good for you to do for a week, but it certainly wouldn't be something that you could sustain. And I think that it's not about just in moderation. I think that we have to look at how we feel about the foods we put in our body. And I'm trained as a naturopath as well, and I think that it is important to look at the frequency that you're putting in your body. Is it dead or is it alive? And that's a good point, right?
Yes.
Are we putting dead energy in, or are we putting live energy in, something that's been photosynthesized, from the light, from the sun, is going
Yeah.
to be a lot better for us than it is, something that is dead, maybe.
Yeah.
um but that's not to say it's okay if if you eat meat and you eat fish, that's fine. But it's thinking about getting a balance of all of that.
Yeah.
So thinking about this, so if anybody is really depressed with the fact that they've tried this, and this, and nothing has worked, how can we help them with that? What do you think the first point you would say to someone? Because I'm sure you get people that phone you and say, I've tried this, I've tried that, nothing's worked. What would you say to them?
Normally the easiest way is get going. Start your journey. Don't hesitate, because I think people keep putting it off and putting it off. And get going. Throw yourself in there and get started. And yes, it's not going to happen immediately, but it does happen. It does happen, and it happens relatively quickly. So from a diet point of view, to start eliminating the toxic foods.
Right.
So
That's
the alcohol, drinking more water. These are just basic things that we know. Get rid of the pills, get rid of the quick fixes. And lead as natural or as close to nature diet as possible. Eat your rainbow. There's so many just positive ways to go about doing this without harming yourself and just going in a positive direction.
Yeah. And Philippa, would it be all right if anybody wanted to have like a kind of like a chat with you before they embarked on a journey, maybe with you, a commitment with you? Could they have a chat with you? Maybe we can put a link for people to email you, which we spoke about, and maybe they can have a 10 or 15-minute chat with you just to see if you're fit.
Because you need to know, are you going to fit? Is this the right person for me? Not everybody gets on with everybody else. It does. And when you're talking to someone, you can sort of pick up, okay, we're going to get on or we're not going to get on.
And it depends. I mean, but the thing is, online is great because you're quite free with your times. You work really early in the morning. Like, I can't believe Philippa starts at like 5 a.m. in the morning. And we tend to work at lunchtime. But there are, you're available, aren't you, for different times for different people all over the world. So that's really good. So I think that might be a really good start. I just wanted to say that one of the things that I really liked about working with Philippa, and this is not all about selling Philippa's services or anything, I'm just saying that what's worked for me is that I didn't really want to do a whole load of cardio, right? I walk the dog every morning, I didn't want to do cardio. And one of the things that Philippa said to me right at the start was, I said to her, I really want to work with muscles, with weight, with toning up. And we do a lot of Pilates type things, don't we? I've got all my weights. So gradually I bought everything I needed. And we do weight bearing. And what else? Just help people to understand it's combination.
So each person is individual. So I do different workouts with every client. Work it all out beforehand. I don't just go in there.
No, she has a plan. And sometimes I change that plan. But
right, I'm not feeling well. Can we stretch?
Yeah,
not
you do sometimes.
And it's so, as I say, each person is individual. You've got to base each workout and you've got to change each workout because your body keeps changing. If you're not going to change, your body's going to get bored. You're going to get bored. I'm going to get bored. And that's going to happen.
And that's something that's really good with you as well, is that it's really weird. We're so in tune that it's almost like I know what my body needs, and you've done a plan for that session that literally matches it. So that's really cool. So it could be. So people could have cardio if they wanted more cardio.
Some people prefer, they just want to pump iron. Some people want to do more cardio type things. Some people want more core work.
Which is what I wanted.
Most people I incorporate core because I do believe it's fundamental. If your core is strong, you can do everything else.
And we've noticed that, haven't we, with me? I never used to be able to, what was it I never used to be able to do? There was something reverse crunches. I never used to be able to do reverse
Yes.
crunches, and now I do them with ease, like,
Yeah.
because I've got a really strong core,
Yeah.
and that makes a massive difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm,
And
mm,
just a word on stretching. Stretching is also vital because you need to still keep those muscles fluid. You can't
mm.
just they otherwise the lining of the muscle almost becomes tight, and you need to stretch that out as well. So
Yeah,
that helps with the
that's
muscle
important.
building.
Yeah, yeah, that's important. So we're going to put your email address in the show notes here, and I just want to let everyone know. I'm just going to get the date up, but because I am holding a workshop, I'm just going to get the exact date because I will leave the link for people to book in. It is in February. Bear with me. Okay, I think it is the first. Bear with me a second. Right, I think, yeah, here we go. So February the 24th, I know it seems like a long way away, but it flies by, right? February the 24th, I'm going to be running a masterclass and a workshop, and I'm going to be helping people to understand what messages are being conveyed in their body. I'm going to help you understand where that might have come from the perspective of a meta health perspective, metaphysics perspective, but also how you can heal the trauma that perhaps has created that message. So I'll be doing that work with you. So it'll be a healing workshop and an opportunity to ask any questions. And I will invite Philippa. If you would like me to invite Philippa, I will invite Philippa and she can answer your questions on health if she's up for that. I'm sure she'd be up for that. And if you want to talk to her and you want to ask any questions about, your body, your fitness, that side of things, and your diet, then that might be a really lovely thing if Philippa's up for doing that. I put you on the spot there, Philippa, but that might be nice. Just put it in your diary. And so I'll leave the link below. It's just £11. So it's just £11 for you to come on that workshop. It will be recorded as well. So if you can't make it live, as all my work, you can actually get it on a replay. Okay. So you might like to join us for that. So Philippa, anything else Shauna's just said, yes, it made sense. In the traditional model I learned in a nutrition degree. So I just hear so much about high protein diets. So I wondered her opinion. Right. So that's really good. So she obviously, she did a degree in nutrition, but it's interesting, isn't it, how, actually our bodies are changing big time now. I think that everyone's body is changing, and I think that depending on the toxins that you put in it, the body is having to work really, really hard to clear them out. And I think that's something that we're noticing, and we're seeing people with, skin, it's coming out in the skin, it's coming out with layers of rolls of fat and so on. And as you said, toxins are held in the fat cells, aren't they? you
Yeah.
know
Most
so
definitely.
yeah,
Most,
so it's held there as, it's much easier to absorb, chemicals, as you were talking about chemicals, these, we don't know, do we, the long-term effects of
yeah.
holding this in our body. And I think that it's worth thinking about, what's our motivation to have a quick fix? Is it to pop a pill and all our troubles are gone? Or is it that I just don't know where the end point can be? I'm too in this too deep. And when we say that, then it feels like the goal is so far away. That's when people don't do it. But I would say, even if you are on a journey that, you have decided to take pills, you have decided to take injections, don't worry. There is always a door that can open. And
Mm.
it's not that, it's the end of the road if this didn't work for you or something else. There's always a way and there's always a door open. And I think the combination of definitely doing your core strength, your muscle strength, making sure you move your body every single day. I mean, I sit down for a job, and honestly, it's really
Yeah.
important to move your body. definitely to move that energy that you're working with every single day emotionally. But look at, when did it start? When did your body start to change? When did you start to put on weight or lose weight or whatever it was? What happened? Because that's always a key, to look at what was going on in your life at that time and what has changed, such as menopause. What changes happened emotionally when you realized you couldn't have children anymore?
Yeah.
Maybe you never had the chance to have children, and then you realized you can't. That's it. That's the end of the road from a physical
It
perspective. Of
doesn't
course,
mean that it's the end of the road for you.
it doesn't mean you can obviously have, you can obviously adopt, you can foster and so on, but actually physically to have a child, you've got to look at the emotions that are connected to menopause, because it could be that the hormones are out of balance because emotionally you're out of balance. So not just about what you put in your body, but also what you put emotionally into the body as well.
Totally.
So Philippa, anything else that you feel that might be helpful for people right now in this January energy, that people are thinking something's got to change in 2026, or whatever year you watch this? But what would you say to people?
Get started. That's the
Yeah,
main thing. Is throw yourself in there, get started.
yeah,
Um, just a point on building muscle. A
yeah.
lot of people, when they first conversations that I have with them, they say, "Am I going to look like a bodybuilder?"
I've said that to you.
I don't want to look like a bodybuilder. No, you're not going to look like a bodybuilder unless you're taking some other steroid. You're not going to turn into a bodybuilder, and it's replacing you. You don't replace body, fat doesn't turn into muscle and vice versa. They're totally separate.
Yeah.
So once you build that muscle, your fat is naturally burnt off.
Yeah.
You're not going to look big. In fact, you're going to look leaner and trimmer, and you're not going to turn into this massive Hulk.
It's quite interesting though, because I used to say that to you, didn't I, at the
I know
start? I
so
was
many
like,
women are worried about that.
I don't want
No,
to have like big
no,
muscles like a man. I don't want to do
no.
that. And and I think actually that I'm pretty well toned now, and I have a bikini body at
Yes,
56,
I
which
mean, now
isn't
you
bad. Which is not bad really, obviously I'm not like a 20-year-old, but I definitely have a body that I'm happy, very happy with. And I think that makes a massive difference in your life. I was saying to you, to sorry
it gives you
sorry
that
it
confidence.
gives you massive confidence, because when you put clothes on, the clothes are not, they fit
Yeah,
you properly.
yeah. You
And
don't have this fear of going shopping for clothes.
yeah, exactly. Nothing fits, I can't get anything to suit me. And it used to be like that. Not that I was ever really overweight, but for me, it was about my shape and my
Yeah,
strength. And I had the
felt uncomfortable
cesarean.
with yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously I was doing a lot of emotional work, but the thing that was left out was the physical body. And that was what I really needed to do, and obviously being a public speaker and doing that kind of thing, I have to feel confident in that. I knew what I was talking about, but I had to feel confident when I stood and spoke. And that was one of the things. I think I had a big event coming up. Was I going to San Diego
Yes.
or something? Yeah, I was going to San Diego to speak, and I was like, Philippa, I want to feel really good when I stand and speak. Oh, Philippa, it's been amazing. I've really, really enjoyed it. And I hope you can join us on the 24th of February. Let's put it in the diary. And I think people will really value that. And maybe we can have something that we can give them, maybe a PDF on some good, healthy foods that will heal the body or something. We'll put that together. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say. I don't think there's
So
anything
much in
else.
me. I feel totally flattered.
Oh, well, I'm honored to have you. And I think I like to talk to people on here on the YouTube. It's not very often, but I like to, if I think something's going to really assist people and help them, because you know, we talk all the time about health and wellness. And I thought, wow, let's get you on here so that you can help people understand how important it is. Okay.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much, Philippa. And thanks everyone that's come on live. Please, once again, leave your notes and your messages. Keep them to health and wellness, of course, and we will answer them for you. And I'll let Philippa know all the questions that you might ask her. I'll send them on to her so she can reply. And we look forward to seeing you on the 24th. And don't forget that I have got many different workshops and retreats and all sorts of things. You can find them all on my website, susankennard.co.uk, and look forward to seeing you very soon. Lots of love.